Hi, this is Chuck again. So, underneath this Tamiya BMW shell, it's my TT02 with Racing drift conversion. Just wanted to share this with you guys today. I didn't see too much information on this online or on YouTube, so I thought I'd share this and create a foundation, or at least a reference point for anyone interested in this car and this conversion. So, here we go. This is the start of it. TT02 with the racing drift package. Right now, I think I got what kind of tires are these here? F5. I typically play with this using DRC Yokomo tires, but I have F5s on because I made a video recently, and I just wanted something that I could have power to control. F5 tires are relatively grippy compared to a DRC or an LF2 or LF3. Which is typically has become the de facto spec tire locally in Vancouver. Anyways, yeah, I like the car. It's pretty cool. Good layout. Again, the battery is in there, and it's held by friction because I'm using an actual piece of foam to lock it in place. You could use the actual battery holder that came with the TT02. I took it off just because it didn't look nice. You know, again, the wiring is a little bit goofy and messy, but the car performs relatively well. Aside from having the drift package, which includes the updated steering, updated front and rear suspension. What else do we have here? Yes. Inside, in order to get the gear ratio that I wanted, I needed the car to be a little bit faster. So I turned up the gear ratio by adding the spur gear adapter from Racing, and then I put in a smaller spur with a larger pinion gear. That allowed me to basically make the wheel spin. I'm also using the Racing motor mount, which is really cool because it's fully adjustable. So that's a nice thing to have if you decide to go this route. Having a TT02 drift car, it's interesting. I wouldn't say it drifts as well as my Yokomo, but it's not bad. I mean, the steering angle on this thing is pretty decent. It's a project I was trying to work on earlier in the summer. Things got in the way. Then at the end of the summer, I was able to get back to working on it, and then I made a nice little reel video. I'll see if I can link it, hopefully. What else about this thing? Yeah, it's using a Power HD D15 servo. I went with a D15 because I didn't need the speed of a D12 or an R12S, which is my typical go-to servos. Connected to the Power HD G1 gyro. That gyro has worked very well for me. I've used it several times in multiple different cars. Yeah, what else? Low profile Gens Ace battery. The Gens Ace battery, I typically debadge them and then paint. So that's why it's got the white label. The TS50 from SkyRC has been great. Again, that's a very good low-cost speed control unit. For anyone in Canada, it's available locally at any hobby store because it has distribution. So that's a key thing. Get something that has distribution. It's cool to have the fancy stuff, but it's more cool to have stuff that gets your car running right away. So yeah, the TS50. If you're going to get the TS50, the TS50, make sure you get the programming card as well. You'll want to program the features on it. If you want to put turbo boost in there, that's cool. If not, Bob's your uncle. Connected to my antennaless receiver. Everything works well on this package. The one thing that's kind of hokey and weird is the power cap. That's an old Novak capacitor that I'm using. That Novak capacitor helps with the TS50 because it doesn't have a lot of amperage. I think it's only a 2 amp BEC, which is sufficient for what we're going to do with the drift car typically, unless you start throwing on lights and all other things. But yeah, it's been working pretty nice for me. Yeah, had the car for what, almost 2 years now, right? I think I started this project 2 years ago. And yeah, again, maybe if I put more time into it, it can drift as well as my Yokomo. But right now, if I had a go-to car, it would be my Yokomo, um, as opposed to this one. But again, it's a Tamiya. I got a soft spot for Tamiyas. It's one of the reasons why I built the car. And yeah, that's just something I wanted to share with everyone. And yeah, like and comment. If there's any suggestions or questions, let me know. Thanks very much. I actually forgot to talk about the setup. So yeah, let me talk about that. I've got the shocks as upright as possible, because typically I found that in drifting as opposed to in racing, you want the car to jack. And when the car jacks, that basically means that it's going to break traction, which is the whole name of the game. So if you lean your shocks in and make them very progressive, your shocks are going to do a lot of work, and that's going to make the car absorb that kinetic energy sideways. Having your shocks as upright as possible makes them jack, and you want to jack you want the car to jack off as much as possible in drifting. That's the name of the game. Inside the shocks, I think I went with 2-hole Tamiya yellow. So again, Tamiya yellow is the lube that I typically use. I put that stuff on everything. But yeah, 2-hole Tamiya yellow is what I go with inside. The springs on this package, the Yacht Racing conversion came with, I believe these are yellows. So they're very soft. They're either yellow or red, but definitely softer than what came with the Tamiya TT02 car originally. In the back, I put putty into the diff. The diff was locked up. Well, not locked up. It's still got some give. But having the putty in there allows me to basically make the diff locked up when I need it to lock up, and not lock up when I need it to not lock up. If that makes sense. Yeah, drive shafts, fully adjustable. You can adjust the links as these as well. I decided to go pretty much smack dab in the middle. And links, I've made the links flat as possible because I didn't want the car to roll too much. If I needed the car to roll, I simply jacked up the ride height, which is why this car has quite a bit of ride height on it. And again, typically when you check ride height, you just drop your car. You don't jiggle it. No, don't jiggle. No jiggles, please. Just drop it. Just drop it. Okay. What else here? I think I added a little boost on this because having turbo is fun. It's a 17.5 Reedy. It's got enough power in there to go without the turbo, but it just sounds cool when you have that turbo. You know. Well, if you don't know, try it. What else? I think I took off the Tamiya Servo Saver to put it on something else, and I went with a Kimbrough. Kimbroughs are fine. Nothing wrong with a Kimbrough. It is what it is. It's a Kimbrough Servo Saver, right? Yeah, tires again. These are great for grip, but well, not for grip. These are great to power slide. If you want to slide on power and get around the track a little cool, make a nice little video, these are probably the tires I'd recommend. If you want control tire, slide with everyone else, DRC or something similar to that is probably what would be recommended. So yeah, again, it's a low CG style. In the past, I've played around with adding weight to the front or to the back. Really easy enough to do, so essentially it anchors itself around if needed, because it doesn't have the high CG that a lot of the cars typically use now. So again, you can tell what type of doctrine is used. There's a lot of different ways to tune the car. I'm noticing that high CG is very popular right now. It's not something I like. I think it looks goofy, but again, that's just my opinion on it, and everyone's got an interpretation. And at the end of the day, I can respect people making cars work with a high CG tower that really leans over. Just not my thing. Anyways, yeah, that's the car in a nutshell. Still has a lot of TT02 components on it. But with that said, it's very different from a standard TT02. What else? Oh yeah, I took out all the Phillips screws. That's mandatory. Going with a 2mm driver on everything makes it just easier to work on, and it's just, less cognitive dissonance. I'll say that much. Yeah. All right. Keep on RCing. Do your thing.